We're talking Philly sports.
The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
And New York sports.
Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
And the unique history and relationship between the two cities. With Mike Carr.
You're so money and you don't even know it.
And Adam Turkel.
I agree. Nobody's madder about than I am. They're going to say that, and I'm going to look at them and say, "Hi, you're right."
This is the Battle for I-95 podcast, starting now.
Welcome to the Battle for I-95 podcast. We are now up to episode 25. And as always, the Battle for I-95 is brought to you by Easy Moving. Moving's hard enough, do it the easy way. Servicing Fairfield, Connecticut, and removal in New York. I am Turk. My partner there is Mr. Mike Carr. We come to you with terrible news to start this show. It's not the news that we wanted. We didn't do a show last week because of it. Frank, as you all know, is Frank Ravioli, passed away last Sunday. May he rest his soul in peace. My friend Frank Cibrian, that's his name, worked with me for almost a decade and suffered a massive heart attack. When he was in the hospital, they discovered a hole in his heart. He needed open heart surgery. His lungs filled with fluid, some blood as well. He needed a lung transplant, which he couldn't get. And Frank was killing himself with smoking the whole time. And that ended up being his demise. They didn't want to do the open heart surgery until Frank was stronger, but they got to a point where it was, we do it or he dies now. And they did it, and they said he was a long shot to survive. And like most of Frank's gambling life, the long shot didn't work out, and Frank passed away the next day. Mike, about a loss.
It's a big hit. You know, we were very much like a tripod, like I said on our posts. You know, I feel like a leg's been kicked out. I didn't know Frank very long. Originally, when you had first brought him up, I was like, great, it's 2-on-1. This is typical New York shit.
It wasn't that with him, though. I knew it wasn't going to be, so
it ended up finding out Frank had a whole different dynamic to it. You know, the gambler himself, you know, he added that weird guy that's always in the group. You know, you have the hardcore fan, and then you have the guy that's a hardcore fan, but then he likes some other team.
Right. Some team from some other town, nowhere near
some
where
other
he grew
town
up.
and some other area.
Like Cowboy fans in Philly, basically.
Like Cowboy fans in Philly. You know, a Lakers fan in Boston. You know, it added a total different look to it that somebody else would have been able to relate to. I think it made the show perfect in what it was. It touched everybody, and we are missing something very deep here on the podcast.
Yeah, it's tough to swallow. And Mike, as you know, I lost another friend less than 24 hours later. And I want to give him a shout out. He wasn't part of the show, but this kid was so loved in South Jersey. Semi-pro football player, played for me for a couple of years. I remained friends with him after that, to where, you know, we communicated pretty frequently. His beautiful wife, Emily, went to school with my son, and his name was Zach Bautz, and he passed away in a terrible truck accident in Pennsylvania while working. Young, 28 years old, married like 8-9 months. I mean, just brutal. And I went to his services, and let me tell you, this kid was so loved, Mike. The line to his services were down the block. Like, you know, he played for me with the Pirates and the Assassins. He played on the Jersey Eagles. He had played, you know, he grew up in Delran, played for Delran High School. Very popular kid growing up, very, very smart kid, and one of the nicest souls you could ever meet, as well as one of the hardest working players I've ever had the pleasure of coaching. Just that guy, and Mike, you're going to know what I mean. That guy that no matter what you asked him to do, no matter how much it wasn't in his wheelhouse, maybe even, he was going to find a way to do it and get it done. And Zach was that kind of player, and I loved him and his work ethic. And losing him and Frank in 24 hours basically sucks, But I just wanted to give a shout out, my condolences to Bautzy's family, as he was known, Bautzy, they used to call him. Zach's family, his wife, who survives him, who, if you ever see this, Emily, I said it to you at the proceedings, and I say it to you again on this broadcast. I made a promise to Zach years ago to be his friend forever. And that no matter what happened, he could ask me anything. He could ask me any favor. He could call me anytime at night, anytime in the morning. And I now pass that to you, Em. And if you ever need anything from me, you could say that. And I just want that to be known before we talk about Frank, that how everyone was touched by Zach. He was like that. He was that kid. And Mike, you coached before. You know that when you coach, you love all your players. They're like adopted kids to you. You treat them with that type of reverence. But there's always one or two over the course of your time that hit you a little different.
Yeah.
Just a little different. Zach Bautz was that guy for me. He hit me a little different. And it will be a sadder place without him and without Frank as well. And, we had so much fun with Frank on this show at times, Mike. Busting chops. I want to start with, I'm paying Frank's final bet.
Hey, look at that. Oh.
Even in passing, I will not welch on the bet. I will not. So, Frank, I know you're watching. I wore it to work one day, as we agreed, and now I'm wearing it on the podcast. And I'm officially, with my team being a sad sack of shit story, I'm officially rooting for the Steelers for the rest of the season in honor of Frank. Because my team has no chance anyway, so I may as well root for someone else, right?
That's right.
Right. So, but we had so many good times with him, man. And like you said, the dynamic that he brought us a different perspective. Yeah, he was a fellow Yankee fan, so we would beat up on you a little bit with the Yankees stuff, But when it came to football, he didn't like either one of us or either one of our teams.
No.
And that arrogant bastard, his team is now sitting in first place at 8-2. And, they put in Russ Wilson, and everyone's like, oh, yeah, well, guess what? Frank was fucking right. Well, Frank was wrong about that. That's the first thing I'm going to say. Frank wanted Fields to stay in. All right, this was a topic of discussion, but the Steelers look like a different team since Wilson took over, and Frank's love for the Steelers hopefully can carry them one further. You obviously don't have as many memories about Frank as I do. You have ones from the show. You heard the Ravioli stuffed shell story. That's why we called him Frankie Ravioli.
It's classic.
That just I got another one for you, Mike. He didn't like tomato pie.
Yeah. For what?
What was wrong with that Italian?
For what?
I mean, how do you not like tomato pie? Oh, but if it got cheese on it, I don't like it. It's got to have the cheese. There's no job. But Frank, there's a way to make it. You'd say, no, it's got to have cheese. He would argue to high hell about it all the time. So, and on this show, we had some funny times. You like bashing on my Jets, and damn it, he's right, motherfucker. He's right. Here's my team floundering around at 3-8, and and his team rising up. Tell me something you remember from the shows, Mike. Well, tell me something that sticks out to you about Frankie.
All right, let's highlight something good about him, not just funny. His love for Gonzaga. I mean,
That dude loved Gonzaga like his own kids went there.
yeah. You would have thought he was a donor, that he had a building there, a scholarship fund, and maybe a trophy named after him there, and in the AD's department. I don't know. He loved Gonzaga more than anything, as far as college basketball, and he loved all the players that went there, to the point where
still talked about him in the NBA. Always talking about
rooting
Chet.
for teams that they stink.
Yeah, and Frank's love for Gonzaga was beneficial for me because it got me coffee every year for a week, right? Because this guy would always take Gonzaga against the field to win the NCAA 20, and
it was unbelievable how much he talked about. I'm like, another thing, like Gonzaga. Like, wait a minute, you're from you're from Jersey.
They're on the other side of the freaking country. What would gravitate you to Gonzaga?
What is going on in your brain right now?
Like the Steelers,
fan.
Steelers, you could understand, right? Because Frank's time frame is like my time frame.
Yeah,
he grew up as a young kid in the 70s when the Steelers were ripping off Super Bowls.
Steelers, Cowboys.
Right,
you got it. I get why you were a bandwagon.
Right, and if you didn't gravitate to one of the local teams, it was going to be one of the national powerhouses.
Right, and
it was either Steelers or Cowboys, and obviously he went Steelers.
Went Steelers,
and like I said, he went the Pittsburgh way instead of Dallas way. He didn't like the Jets or the Giants, even though he grew up in Jersey. It just wasn't what he wanted, And I guess watching all those national games, Steelers were on Monday nights all the time back then. Terry Bradshaw, Franco Harris. I gravitate to that team a little bit too, Mike.
Mean Joe Green.
That's one of the things he used to mention to me. Is one of his oldest memories was the Mean Joe Green commercial with the little kid. Hey, right. Mean Joe, want a Pepsi or want a Coke, whatever it was, and he threw him the Coke, and then Mean Joe throws him the jersey, right? So, Frank, unlike me, was smart. Like when I was a young kid growing up, the first Super Bowls I remember were the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I was gravitating. What pulled me to football, quite honestly, was Terry Bradshaw. He's what pulled me to football, right? Specific play in Super Bowl 10 when he gets absolutely destroyed against Dallas. I think they were down 5 points or whatever, 4 points. Destroyed. Gets the pass off. It's caught for a touchdown. And Bradshaw has to come out. He's out for the game at that point. That was at the very end of Super Bowl 10. And, I think they knocked his tooth out. I mean, they killed him. And I thought that was one, as a little kid, I was like, wow, what a tough guy. I want to be like him. That's a tough son of a bitch, So it got to the point for me personally where when it got to 1980, 81, I'm 11, 12 years old now, kind of half pulling a little bit for both. The sack exchange came to be. And the Jets defense was, reminded me of those Steelers Super Bowl defenses when I was very young. And since they were on TV all the time, and, I was from New York, I was in Brooklyn. There was a lot of Jet fans in Brooklyn. Jets were kind of Brooklyn, Queens, Long Island's team. I ended up going more Jets than Steelers. And boy, do I fucking regret it. Oh, my God, do I regret it.
Well, they say it's never too late to switch, but that's on you.
No, you know how it is, Mike. It gets in your blood, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about my football team later in the show, which is a fucking train wreck. But we'll talk about that after.
Give a small shout out to Gonzaga. They're 4-0.
Yeah, good start to the season. Good start to the season for Gonzaga. But they're always a good program. They're always a good program. So they're a perennial Sweet 16 team all time.
All the time.
So, and Frankie obviously was a Yankee fan. Same love for the Yankees I had. I wish the Yankees could have given him a World Series before he passed away. Let him get that one more in, but it wasn't meant to be. And I'll say this of my friend. My work office is a much lonelier place without him. You know, that for me, that's the biggest effect. This is a guy I saw 5-6 days a week for the last decade. You know, and I go in the morning, I go to work, and I say hello to everybody. I say good morning and good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. And I get to the back where my case is, and there's only a few of us back there. I'll say good morning, Bill. Good morning, Ron. And now I say good morning, Frank, because his picture's up on my case. You know, I used to say good morning to him anyway, but I will continue to say good morning to him. You know, and it's a tough pill to swallow, man. It is.
Yeah.
Tough pill.
To lose, I mean, like you said, you know, he not only is a coworker, you know, he's one of your closest friends, and you know, that's never easy. And the fact that you did that, and then Zach, all in, you said 24 hours, man. I mean,
yeah, terrible.
Not a good stretch.
I didn't even, you know, one of my old players reached out to me about Zach, and he said, "Did you know Zach? Do you remember Zach from the football team?" Now, obviously, he didn't know that, you know, me and Zach were still like, you know, we still talk all the time. He was just kind of reaching out to me because his brother, who was my quarterback that season, Eric, worked with Zach.
Okay.
And Eric found out through work about the accident. He saw the report, and the guy said to him, "You knew this kid, didn't you?" And Eric told his brother, and his brother messaged me. And I got mad at him. I said, "Bro, that's not funny. Don't even joke like that. That's not even funny." I texted Zach right away. Of course, I didn't get a response. You know, I couldn't believe it. It was like, Frank just died. What do you mean Zach's gone too? What do you mean? What do you mean? You know? So bad week to be my friend. You know, and everybody's, you know, obviously there's people closer to them than I was. You know, Frank is survived by his son Nick, by his mom. To lose a child, I have no words for his mother. I'm so sorry. You know, to lose a child, I can't imagine the feeling losing a child, where you feel that, you know, you should be going before them. You know, so I felt that way with Zach, Mike. But one of my bugaboos about Zach passing away when I went to his services was, you're supposed to come to my funeral.
Right.
You know, you're supposed to come to my funeral and be sad someday. How dare you steal my fucking thunder, kid? I'm not supposed to go to your funeral. It's not supposed to happen.
Right.
So for Frank's mom, I feel terrible that she lost her son. And I feel terrible for his kid, Nick, who is a great kid. He's in college. Nick, I'm so sorry. I haven't had the ability to talk to you. I have no words other than I'm so sorry. And I love your father very much. He was a great man. And I love that dude to death. And we move on, Mike. And I think that the one thing that, if we do have any younger listeners, which I don't know if that's as much in our demographic, because we're a couple of, you know, 30-something, 50-something men talking about sports in Philadelphia, New York. And so I don't know how big our demographic actually is. But I will say this, and this is something I really learned for a long time now. And I learned it back, I think the first time it really hit me was 2001 after 9/11. The price you pay for getting older is losing the people and things you love.
Oh, yeah.
It is part of the deal. If you're going to get old, you're going to lose more. The older you get, the more you lose. It is the price you pay. And it's a heavy price.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely not. You know, I can remember when I lost one of the guys that I coached, one of the kids that I coached in a fire, and you know, he was the nicest kid in the world, and it's like, what the fuck, man? He didn't do anything to anybody. He was the nicest kid. Couldn't even get the kid to block his own teammates.
It makes you it questions your faith, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When it seems that unfair,
it's that unfair, right?
Like, you're like, wow. If they, and listen, if there's a bunch of religious people who says, I'm sorry, you could be mad at me, but it does cross my mind. How can there be a God to let something like that happen to a young kid, to a kid who just got married, who is working his ass off for this damn truck company, getting in trucks at 3, 4 in the morning, driving all over the fucking place, you know? And let me tell you, Mike, he didn't like his job. And I used to tell him every time I spoke to him, dude, there's other union jobs. You know, this job puts a lot of stress on you, a lot of hours, a lot of driving. I did that for a living for a while. It is fucking taxing. Listen, I've gotten lucky. You know, there's twice I probably should have gotten into really bad accidents. And fate just didn't let it happen. I fell asleep at the wheel once in my 24-foot truck. And thank God, when I passed out, I drifted over. They had just put in those ridges on the side of the road.
On the highway.
And the ridges shook me up for a second. Dude, I scared the fuck out of myself.
Yeah.
And another time was in a blizzard on the Jersey Turnpike. I-360 with my truck on the turnpike, and nobody hit me. So, you know, so Zach was dealing with that, you know, that kind of job, and Frank passes because of his own transgressions. And I want to say this to anybody I'm with the near shot out there. I started smoking cigarettes when I was 11 years old. And I smoked cigarettes until 5-6 years ago, which means I smoked for almost 40 years. There was about a 5-6 year break in there during my first marriage where I quit and blew up like a balloon. And then when I quit with my current last time, it stuck this time. If you smoke cigarettes, everyone, are you listening to me? You are killing yourself. You are dying inside. And there's nothing you could do about it if you don't stop. You are going to make your loved ones hurt. You are going to die younger than you should. And that's just the facts.
Yeah.
Mike, I can't say it enough. America, the world, stop smoking cigarettes. For the love of Christ, stop fucking smoking cigarettes, please.
And, you know, if this even pisses other people off too, because, hey, it's slow suicide. It's slow suicide. You're just slowly killing yourself. And this might not reflect everybody's opinion, but suicide is the selfish way to go out.
Yes.
So if you're going
and you just saw me hit my vape.
Yeah.
You know, we all have our, I'll call them vices, our vices. Okay. As I said, I smoked for almost 40 years. While this is not healthy, I'm not saying this is healthy. It's a different ball game than smoking cigarettes. And I can tell you that from experience. And this is vaping responsibly, okay? I'm not vaping for big clouds and using mods and all this shit that the younger generation does that gives them popcorn lung and all the other shit that they go through with vaping because they take it to a whole nother fucking level because they're a bunch of stupid kids, right? So I'm vaping responsibly, and I know the difference because I can actually go up and down my stairs without huffing and puffing. I used to not be able to do that. So while this is bad for me, it just shows you how bad smoking is for smoking to be much worse than this. And it is because you're using fire. You're literally, people, listen to me, you're putting fire in your lungs when you smoke a cigarette. That's what the smoke is. It's fire. It's heat. You're putting the heat in your lungs. Now, yeah, I'm putting chemicals in my lungs. This isn't good for me, but it's not the other thing either, right? So I don't want to become a preacher on this show. Right. I just wanted to get the message out there as strongly as I could that my friend Frank is gone because he never stopped smoking. I love you, Frank. You did it to yourself, my brother. You know,
and anybody else, just do the non-selfish thing. Think about your kids, your mother, your father, your wife, your husband, whatever. You're a person. You're needed here. Stop. Just stop now. Do whatever you can. There's so many programs.
And it's hard. We're not saying it's easy, Mike.
Yeah. No, it's not easy. It's an addiction. It's very much an addiction. You know, and it just so happens that it's a legal one.
Yeah. You know, and again, there's so many vices to have that can't be one of them. There's no benefit from it either. It's not like you're getting high. You know, there literally is no benefit from it other than feeding a habit.
Yep.
That is literally the only thing you get from it. So we're going to stop preaching at this time, and I'm going to say goodbye, Frank. I love you.
Love you too, Frank.
And I will see you on the other side. But not yet, my friend. Not yet. Now we will start to talk about what this podcast is about, which is sports. And we're going to try to move on without you, Frank. And we're going to try to do a good show. But it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. Let's talk about Juan Soto.
Hey, you want us to talk about good things, huh?
So, the Juan Soto thing has been going on for a couple of weeks now. We missed an episode last week with Frank's passing, so we didn't get to talk about it. But the teams involved at first were the Dodgers, of course, the Yankees, the Mets. There was no mention of Phillies at first, other than in Philadelphia. But nationally, nobody thought Phillies were going to be prevalent in it. The Red Sox, the Toronto Blue Jays, and now it comes out yesterday that the Phillies are players, like serious players. So I'll start with this. He's not going anywhere on the West Coast. He didn't like it there. Dodgers, Giants, Padres, if you're all going to go fishing, kiss my ass. He's not going out there. All right, you're going to get all your Japanese players, and there's nothing I can do to stop you, but you're not getting fucking Juan Soto. Go spit. He's an East Coast guy. He may end up with the shitty-ass Phillies, but he's going to be on the East Coast. That I promise you, okay? He's not going to Toronto. The insane tax rates up there, the difference, the way the pay works because of the money transaction from Canadian to America. You know what, Canada? You're fucked. You're not getting them either. Have a nice day. Step off the program now. You're not getting them, Toronto. Not happening, right? The Red Sox. No. Because if he becomes a Red Sox, he will be the most hated Red Sox ever. And anything he did as a Yankee will be tarnished, even more so than if he goes to the Mets. And I don't think he wants that type of vitriol. So unless the Red Sox were going to blow it out of the water, I don't know if they're a viable option. I don't think they're willing to blow it out of the water, right? So that leaves the Yankees, the Mets, and the Stinkadelphia Stinkies, right? So we're going to look at all aspects of this. I'm going to ask you questions.
Okay, I'll answer them.
Do you think Juan Soto will play somewhere unless it is the highest bidder?
Do I personally think that?
Would he leave money on the table?
I don't think he's going to leave us a penny on the table. And I honestly think with, not to cut you off, but with the plan to meet with Juan Soto, the Phillies just posted it today. They're going to be bringing the house with them. They're going to be bringing every player, Bryce, Trey.
You bringing all those championships you got too?
So listen, hold on. This is my prediction. With that, they're gonna try to lowball and say, look, you played with all these guys. If you want a championship, it's going to be here.
You gonna leave. He's gonna walk around the door.
I don't think it's going to be a low ball, like a crazy low ball, but maybe like, close to $10 million off the asking price.
That's not going to work if that happens.
I don't think that's going to work. I think Juan Soto will go to the highest paying guy. But our initial plan, I think, is to say, hey, look, here's all your buddies.
All right, I'm gonna tell you what I honestly think. I honestly think he's going to stay with the Yankees, and I'm going to tell you why. I think the Yankees are going to be willing to match whatever the highest offer is. And I think that they're going to say when they do match it, don't go running back to them again. This is it. Take it or leave it. All right, Steve Cohen, Phillies, whoever offered you this, we're matching it. You work here. If you want to be a Yankee, it will be for the same price they just offered you. And if that happens, I believe he will stay in the Bronx because I think he loved the roll call. It's very Dominican in the Bronx. There was a lot of support for him, a lot of love out there. And the most important factor involved, he hits in front of the best hitter in baseball. He hits in front of Aaron Judge, and that's why Juan Soto had career numbers this year, because he's hitting in front of Aaron Judge. Now, you can look at other aspects, right? If he goes to the Phillies, is it Juan Soto's team?
No, it's not Juan Soto.
It's not. If he goes to the Mets, is it Juan Soto's team? Yes, it will be. Yeah, he's a bigger personality than Francisco Lindor. It will become his team.
And Pete Alonso?
Pete Alonso's not even going to be there. He's a free agent. They're not re-signing him.
You don't think so? Okay.
No, I don't. I don't, because Pete thinks he's worth a lot more than he actually is. And he turned down an offer from the Mets last year that he would right now sell his right testicle to get back. Okay? So, Boris has one good shot, and that's Soto. Alonso's going to be lucky to get, all right, I guess if somebody loses out on the Soto sweepstakes, I could see someone throwing him 4 years, maybe 5 years, 20, 25 a year. Maybe he gets $120 million max. He ain't no $200 million player. Pete Alonso ain't getting that. You know why, Mike? Because he's a slow-footed, average defensive first baseman with a big body, which tends not to age well. He's a DH waiting to happen.
Okay.
Right? Make sense?
Yeah.
Right. All right. So now let's get back to the Soto conversation. So I think if all things are equal, he will stay in New York for the Yankees. I think your team, unfortunately, I agree with you. I think they're going to try to come with, we got all your friends here. We're all hanging out. We got a good team. We won the division. Even though we lost to the Mets, we're going to add some pitching. We're going to do this and that. I think they're going to try to woo him, right? And that way, that's not going to work. If you don't come with at least $50 million a year, you ain't going to be in the Soto sweepstakes. I don't know if your team's ready to dive that deep into the pool right now.
I think they'll be able to come up. So
maybe if they do, your team is definitely the dark horse in this.
So Middleton did go out and there's more investors in the Phillies. He sold some shares. There's more investment in the Phillies, and this obviously is to get Soto, to put more money in the bank to get Soto. Now, again, like we were agreeing on, that initial offer is probably something that Juan Soto is going to look back
and say, fuck y'all.
Did you really call me out for this?
Right. Fuck y'all. Don't even give me a second offer. That first offer is a little insulting. Right.
And also, Bryce is not happy with his contract. He's about halfway into his. And he wants another one.
Yeah, and the Phillies almost have to, because he's become the face of the team.
Right.
So now this is the scary part for me as a Yankee fan. And that is Steve Cohen of the New York Mets, the $20 billion man.
Right.
The richest owner in all of baseball. The only ones who compete are the Rodgerses, who own Toronto. But their disadvantage is they own Toronto, right? So Steve Cohen is in New York, right across the river from the Yankees.
Right.
The Mets need a face of the franchise. They also need to soften the blow for losing Pete Alonso to the fan base, right? I think that the Mets need him more than the Yankees do. I got to tell you, Mike, there's actually a couple of ways. I was thinking about this, and I was listening to BT and Sal talk about it on FAM. And I thought about it after. I was like, what? Brandon's got a point. If the Yankees don't get Soto, they might end up being a better team, because they're going to disperse that money to a third baseman, to a center fielder, and to a first baseman. As to where if they go spend all this money on Soto, then I might have the kids playing. I might have Dominguez playing, and I might have Bird playing. These guys playing that we don't know what they are yet. Spencer Jones, So they might have to cut corners financially if they get Juan Soto by using young guys to fill in the rest, as to where if they don't get Soto, they might go pick up 3-4 viable players that will make them a better team than if they signed Juan Soto. So I'm kind of torn on the whole Soto thing. I'd love to have him, because him and Judge are literally Maris Mantle. They're that type of territory together. But is it worth sacrificing the rest of the team for?
No. And also, like you did say, if you look at his numbers, they're very sporadic when he doesn't have people hitting around him.
His numbers would judge behind him.
He had a career in at-bats. He had a career number in runs, career
Home
number
runs.
in hits. RBIs he tied with last year. His average was a little better this year.
Career high in home runs. He hit 40.
So, I mean, one thing about sports is numbers don't lie. You look at his Washington stats. I mean, yeah, he hit good for average. 1 year, he had 502 at bats with 157 hits. 2021, I think that's when they won it, right?
No, I think that's the shortened year. That's 2020 when he hit 350. The COVID year when they only played 60 games.
When he hit 350, he did 350 the year before. Yep. But the following year, he hit 313 in 21.
Right.
One of those 2 years, they won the World Series.
The Nationals won the series in 21. The Dodgers won in 20.
Okay, yeah, I know they wanted. I know the Dodgers won in 20. So the numbers don't lie. He also had Trey Turner with him then, and Trey Turner was that guy then.
He was that
compared to
guy,
what
right?
He is now.
Right. He's a lesser version right now than he was over there. Right.
It's going very much just to come down to what are you going to pay me every year so that I am good for the rest of my life.
I'm going to wipe the sky right now, Mike, and I'm going to wipe your memory of being a Phillies fan, okay? You are now a professional baseball player.
Okay.
You have no affiliation, really, because you have an agent who won't let anybody know that you like anybody.
Also,
okay?
Not from the same country either.
You're right. You're not from the same country. You don't have that type of loyalty to a team. None of that exists, right? If the most prestigious sports team in the history of sports, okay, as much as you don't like it, that's what the Yankees are, right? They've won more than anybody. They've been around as long as anybody. They have more historical figures than anybody. If that team offers you, and you just played there, and you got treated like a king, and they offer you $5 million a year less than Steve Cohen does. Let's say the Yankees come at 12 years, 50 a year, which is $600 million. And Steve Cohen comes at 12 years, $52 million a year, which is $615 million. Are you really going to go to the JV team for $15 million?
See, but that's you being the, what do you call it?
No. You got look.
JV
No,
team.
I'm asking you because you have to look at history. You're unbiased here. So
I
look
am
at the
unbiased.
history.
So
history
I'm
of
going
the
to tell
Mets.
you right now, wipe the slate clean. Mike Carr does not exist, or Mike Carr is from the Dominican Republic.
Right. Oh,
And
we'll
it's just an
extract the
absolute
Phillies from the equation for this exercise. We'll extract the Phillies. We'll make it Mets Yankees. We'll make it about that. Okay. History of the
Absolute
Mets.
unit. I'm going to the highest bidder.
So even if one has Monument Park that you can wind up in, one has a generational hitter that you'll hit in front of, but it's a tad less money. Oh, by the way, there's a lot of advertising perks to being a Yankee. Okay, let's not forget that too. You're going to tell me that extra $15 million is worth what you might sacrifice on the other end?
I'm pretty sure that his agent is his best friend right now.
That's true.
And whatever his agent says is what's going to go. And his agent ain't going to take a pay cut.
Unless Hal Steinbrenner really surprises me, we're going to lose Juan Soto.
Okay. So you don't think you could come up with the 60 either?
I just think that whatever number the Yankees put out, Steve Cohen's going to put out 20, 30, $40 million more.
Because he's desperate.
Because he's desperate and he has the money to do it. He does it from his own pocket. He doesn't have to do it from the team's expenses. See, the difference between Steve Cohen and the Mets and the Steinbrenners and the Yankees is Steve Cohen is a financer and the Mets are a toy. The Steinbrenners, the Yankees are their business. It is their living. It is
Right.
what they make their money on, right? Steve makes his money in stocks and bonds and all that crap, and the Mets are kind of his toy.
Mhm.
That's why I see him being willing to go further than them willing to compromise. Now, don't get me wrong. I think the Yankees are going to come correct. And what I mean by that is it's going to be competitive with whatever Cohen puts out there. Maybe a little bit less, but it's going to be competitive. Competitive in the sense of, like I said, 50 million versus 52, 12 years versus 13 years. But everybody with these, looking at the length of these contracts, there's going to be opt-outs in his contract. So doesn't it come down to AAV? Because he's going to have opt-outs. He's going to want opt-outs. Because if in 4 or 5 years, there's 10 people making more money than him.
Yeah, it's like Bryce right now. Bryce,
Right.
He should be the highest paid first baseman now.
Right. Soto's going to want the same thing. And Soto, much like Bryce Harper. Okay, I don't want to talk bad about Soto. I'm going to say the good things. He is the toughest at-bat I've seen since Don Mattingly. Every at-bat. He grinds every at-bat. Every at-bat, he doesn't swing at bad pitches. Every at-bat, he's working a pitcher over. You saw him in that playoff game when he hit the game-winning home run. You saw the way he worked that at-bat. That was masterful. That is what he is.
Was that the one where he nodded?
Yes, when he was nodding, I'm like, yeah, I got you.
He's like, I'm clocking you, buddy.
Yeah, I'm getting there. Come on, let me foul another one off. I'm getting every foul ball he
hit. That same dog shit again. See what happens. Whoops.
Right.
Front seat without a ticket.
That's where he is a master. But I'm going to tell you something. Watching him the whole year too. He's a below-average outfielder. He makes bad judgment mistakes. As a matter of fact, he made one in the World Series that cost him. He'll run in, take 2 steps in on a ball that ends up over his head. He does shit like that. He is a terrible base runner. Terrible. Has no base running instinct. He's got a little speed, but it's not outstanding speed, and he has terrible base running instinct.
Who was the lug that got thrown out in home? Was that Soto?
No, that was Stanton. That was Stanton, who had no business being sent home because he runs like
home.
Runs like a dying fucking quail. Why you sent him, I still don't know. I still don't get that.
I'm watching him. He's not even halfway around third base, and that ball is almost to the catcher's mitt.
He was touching the bag when the guy was throwing it. But all right, we'll get that to
Go ahead.
Whatever.
Sorry, I don't want to make you relive it.
But the point is that, like we're talking about Bryce, I don't think Soto's going to age great. He'll still be able to hit because he's that good of a hitter. Miguel Cabrera, the guy was able to hit to the end. But he was slow as shit, couldn't play the field anymore, became a DH his last 5-6 years, right?
That's all. We're the best power / contact hitters. You know what I mean? Like if you can hit contact and put the ball.
Yeah, but now we're talking $50 million a year. You want to pay a guy $50 million a year to be a DH?
Right now, because it's offensive-based baseball. That's what they want. They want the scores to go up. So I don't want to pay anybody $50 million. I think that's wild.
It's insane.
I think that's crazy. Be paying a guy $50 million.
They're talking he's going to get a minimal contract of $650 million. Minimal.
Yeah.
That's where the bidding starts, Mike.
Yeah. So we're almost at $1 billion.
Dude.
$1 billion contract.
$1 billion player is going to happen in the next 5 years.
Yeah, because they can't stop them.
It goes up. The owners can't help
Inflation.
themselves. You know what the owners are like? They're like a sex addict in a porn shop. They just can't help themselves but to whip it out and start sprouting all over the place. They can't wait to go over to the glory hole. They can't wait to pick up the fucking magazine or the tape. They know they shouldn't do it. They know they shouldn't spend this much on a player, but yet they can't help themselves. They go and they do it anyway, And to me, it's the demise of sports right now. It's why you have so much I don't give a shit in sports. Because these guys are billionaires now. They don't need to compete. Why do you think your boy Joel can sit with his thumb up his ass for a few days without having a problem with it? Because he's got the money. He don't care. He's gotten paid. He's paid. He don't care. Juan Soto is going to go to the highest bidder. I agree. And we're going to see. And I think we're going to find out during the winter meetings in December. I think that's when it goes down. So,
and listen, as much as I guess on a for the fan base, because we love new toys here in Philly because we're not used to getting them. We're always used to getting the hand-me-downs.
and this is the shiniest toy out there.
This is the shiniest toy out there right now. I think for the fan base, it would be great that we sign him. I think it'd be awesome for him to be here. But nothing's going to change.
Mike, are you listening?
Yeah, God.
You're not getting Juan Soto.
That's okay.
I just want you to know that. Okay?
That's okay with me.
Okay.
I think there's other things that you got to start paying guys more money on, like a good hitting coach.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
he's gotta
Well,
hit
no.
singles.
I'll go one step, and this is what I said about the Yankees after the World Series. They need more baseball players, guys who can run, who can
Right.
steal a base, who will make a defensive play, who will do whatever it takes to get that play. That's the one thing I respect about the Dodgers, right? In the World Series, listen to this stat. The Dodgers outscored the Yankees by 1 run in the series, combined, right?
Right.
Of the Dodgers' 25 runs, 12 of them came on errors or unforced misplays by the Yankees. You know, the Dodgers hustled to every ball, dove for, made every defensive play they had to make. The Yankees dropping pop-ups in center field, throwing the ball around like a hot fucking potato in the infield. You know, so ball players matter.
Yes.
Ball players matter. Everybody can't be Aaron Judge. Everybody can't be Juan Soto. If you're not Aaron Judge or Juan Soto, or in your case, Bryce Harper, you got to be able to run. You got to make defensive plays. You can't botch the easy play. You can't make the easy difficult. You can't. And that was why the Yankees lost the World Series, which is why, I'm not going to lie, Mike, part of me hopes the Mets sign Soto and the Yankees will go get a bunch of other players. Part of me hopes that. So
you wouldn't be very sad to see him go, is what you're saying.
I wouldn't be devastated. It wouldn't devastate.
It wouldn't be the end all be all.
Right. The only thing that would irk me is that he went to the Mets. I would actually like him to go to your team.
Okay.
You could have him. I want to see him in the Mets because he's going to become the biggest enemy of the Yankees ever if he does that. He goes to Mets or Red Sox, and Yankee fans will never forgive him for it. And I don't know if he realizes the magnitude of that, by the way. You know, your legacy matters, especially when it comes to Yankeeville. You know what I'm saying? We'll see. It's definitely interesting, and we will find out as we go. As we talked about, you know, the money and all this, and we mentioned Joel Embiid.
And the Sixers?
Let's.
About that.
Oh, wait, Mike. I'm going to have to do it to you, brother. We have to talk about this team, right? We have to.
Everybody for Philadelphia,
76ers. Woo! Everybody to 11.
For Philadelphia,
Far around the place. 76ers.
here they come.
Here they come. Joel Embiid. He's on the bench
Stand up and
for the 76ers. The dogs agree, by the way.
Yeah, I can hear him.
So let's talk about dogs. Hey! Let's talk about dogs. Joel Embiid. I have not been a huge fan of his because of the way he carries himself.
Okay.
You and me have talked about this. I thought he's a cheap shot. I
Yep.
think he's a selfish player.
Yep.
I think he's all about Joel more than he is about his team. And I'm not saying he hasn't busted his ass as a Sixer. He has. When things weren't great there, you know, he was them. He was them. It was all him. I will give him his props and his flowers where he deserves them. But what he's done this year so far is an absolute disgrace. And the new face of the 76ers, Tyrese Maxey, called him to the carpet on it. Mike, what's the reaction in Philadelphia to Maxey basically telling Embiid, bro, you coming late affects everyone. You not showing up affects everyone. You're supposed to be a leader, bro. Well, how are they taking that in Philly right now?
That is the Philadelphia 76ers. That is not the Camden 76ers. The Camden 76ers is what's going on with this Paul George. I got boo-boo, so I'm going to sit out for 5 games. It's another. So you got baseball where they're making $60 million. These guys are making $60 million and playing 30% of the year.
Right.
What are you to do as a franchise? You know. One, let's rewind. I told you way back. Philadelphia's tired of their bullshit. We're tired of this getting. Oh, we got Paul George. Yeah, he's a 40% shooter. He's 36 years old.
Oh no! We suck again!
He is going to play 40, 50 games, maybe. If you get 50 games out of him, that's awesome. He's on the back end of his career. I don't like Juan Soto. I don't think he cares about, the fans or anything like that. He's want to go play so that he's financially stable for the rest
He's
of
making
his
his
life.
paycheck. He's making his nut.
How many times has this happened in Philly? Andrew Bynum, Ben Simmons.
Well, Ben Simmons, I think, is different. I don't think Ben Simmons didn't want. I think Ben Simmons just fell apart mentally. I think with him, he just had a mental
I don't think
breakdown.
he was ever there mentally. During his draft, they said he's a whack job.
Yeah.
And then his father was a
We
problem.
talked about this in another show. I still don't know what the fuck happened to him. He went from the next Magic Johnson to the worst player I've ever seen. It's befuddling to me.
And he's missing 8 skyhooks in a row with nobody on him.
Unbelievable.
It's Philadelphians are tired of the Sixers bullshit. Tyrese Maxey
2-11, Mike.
2-11. Yes.
2-11.
What the fuck?
They're not that I give a shit. They're basically out of the NBA Cup as is.
Who cares about that shit?
But there's nothing to look forward to right now.
You don't think they can get it together enough and make a run to make the playoffs and be
That
a threat?
depends on Joel Embiid. Now we've already seen this year he flipped out because he got called out and said, I've given my life to this city.
Right, by the reporter, yeah.
I think I deserve more. And then then the reporter came out and wrote a whole thing about his brother.
Right. Which we said that he was
And-
justified to be pissed off about. We agreed with that.
Listen, I'm 5'6". I'm not 6'5". I'm not going to mess around with a 7'1".
Yeah, you
person.
still can't lay hands
even
on
if
the
he's
guy.
listening.
Can't
even
lay
if he's
hands on the
listening.
guy, but
I'm not touching that.
right.
I'm not touching that because I'm not dealing with the smoke.
Right.
But yes, you have given a lot to this city. Yes, it just looks like maybe your 7'1" body is just starting to fail you because it's just a thing that happens to bigger guys.
What have I been saying for 6 months on the show now, Mike?
Big guys fall hard.
Trade him while you still
Trade him while we
have
still can.
value and build this team around Tyrese Maxey. The kid is the real fucking deal.
So-
And listen, man, him standing up in the locker room to Big Bad Joel and calling
That's
him
fucking
out
awesome.
is awesome.
Awesome.
To me, that gives him the team now.
And the fact that, and here's Kyle Lowry, won his championship. He's another guy. Financially, technically, he's just like, hey, just give me a couple $1 million. I get to play
But he's
for my home
from
team.
Philly, so I'm sure he has some Philly pride.
He's got some pride.
Played for Villanova.
For calling the meeting.
Right.
He's the one who called the meeting.
Right.
So there is a spirit still left in this team. Joel, as the leader and the face of the franchise, has 2 decisions. One, ask for a trade. Go to whatever team you want to go to, wherever. And we got to get the most that we can.
Mike,
for
he's not a leader, Mike. Don't ever call him that again. He's
Hey,
not.
hey,
He's not. You lead by example. Maxey's a leader.
Maxey is a leader. Yes.
Maxey's a leader.
But it's time to either give up the reins and move on. Go get another extension somewhere else.
Well, as the face, he's a face of the franchise. He is. It just is what it is.
Or man the fuck up.
That's really his only.
You're gonna have to
He's
patch
been
up your
called out
boo-boos.
now. I mean, the
You're
young
gonna have
brother
to patch
said,
up your
"Yo,
boo-boos. They tell you can't play. I'm playing. Ice on the knee, brace on the knee, brace on. You got to go back to that, Joel. Braces everywhere. Go out there, and if you don't make it through the playoffs, the casual fan is going to look and go, oh, he stinks. He's hurt all the time. Now that guy gave you everything he had.
And I think that's kind of, that's just what you want to see. I mean, the beginning of the year for him even to make the statement which he made, I'm not playing any more back-to-backs.
I'm not playing any more back-to-backs.
Bro, you're making $40-50 million a year. Shut up and dribble. I'm going to say it. Don't fucking say that. You're getting paid a lot of money to play basketball. And if you can't play, if you want part-time play, maybe you should get part-time pay. Man, that would be my response as the owner. Well, Joel, you're making $48 a year. You don't want to play back-to-back, so you're probably going to play 55 games this year. So I'll tell you what, we're going to give you 25 this year instead.
Yeah.
Now obviously you can't do that because contracts are contracts. But
right, because the NBA is the way that it is. It's a player league.
Right. So you definitely got problems in Philly.
Just with that team.
You got time. They got time to fix it.
Yep.
They got. I'll say they can afford to muddle in for about another month, and then they better really turn it the fuck up, or they're not even going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, and hey, if they don't, and it's because Jerkoff is on the bench, 30 games, or he only played 30 games a year. Oh well.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Some of these guys, that talent is just fucking wasted on. It drives me nuts.
And I also get that you got to get everything that you can while you can, because, the NBA has a 10 times longer longevity than football, but it is such a short time.
It is. Short time. I don't begrudge players for getting as much as they can get. I begrudge owners for giving them everything they give them.
Right. I agree with you.
How much money do you need to give a guy for him to be secure for 3 fucking generations? I mean,
now I'm starting getting to the age where the guys that when I was that young are all retiring.
Right.
They're all retiring now.
Yep.
If I were an NBA player, 36, turning 37 years old, I'd be old.
I would have been retired for, say, 20 years now.
Yeah, if you had a coaching job, you'd be still even on the back end of that.
Right.
Not only even these coaches are getting younger. The NBA is a young league. It's ran by the players, not. They're even having a problem with viewership. And
a little bit, yeah. You know why? Because the casual fan is sick of the shit.
It's uninteresting to watch October, November, December.
Well, let's keep it real.
Unless your team's doing great.
For the most part, the regular season. See, the NBA is the one league that, unlike the NFL, unlike baseball, in the NBA, not everyone has a chance to win from the beginning, right? There's a handful of teams that are going to compete for conference finals on each side, and that's it.
Right.
Or the other teams they have no shot. And everybody knows that from Jump Street. So, unlike the Knicks, who are a little different because of who the coach is and he makes them play hard every game, but most of the teams with superstars on it kind of just cruise to the year, don't care what seed they get in, just get to the playoffs and we'll turn it up then.
Right.
Philly tried that last year. It didn't work out so good. The Lakers have tried that. It hasn't been working out for them lately either, doing that with LeBron. So,
and that travesty with his kid.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You want to talk about a dog and pony show,
Nepotism.
That was all about publicity. All about publicity.
And they don't care.
Bro, he's not going to get on buses for G League games. He's not going to travel. Really? So
and they said it's because his dad's LeBron James. I don't care who knows about it.
Yeah. And that's why you're losing viewers, because the game, listen, the sport is supposed to be, it brings us back to our youth. When we were young, I dove headfirst into a fire hydrant trying to catch a football in a street game. Right. I mean, we did stupid things. I ran full speed into a fence trying to catch a fly ball. I wasn't making a fucking dime. We competed because we loved to compete.
We loved the game.
And what we see now is the love to compete is being torn out of it. Your competitor is your buddy. Your bro dapping him up after the game. As to where back in the day, they asked Patrick Ewing, what if the Knicks would have traded for Michael Jordan? He said, I would have left. I'm not playing the same team with that fucking guy. You know, rivalries were real. The competitiveness was real. It's not the same anymore. You get some instances of it, a little bit. You know, Yankees Orioles has a little fire to it now. They had a couple of fights this year, but you don't get a lot of it anymore. You know, in football, I mean, the most violent sport out there in football, these guys are hugging after the game, buddy with each other, as to where Jack Lambert would have given you a fucking vasectomy on the spot for even looking at him wrong after a game.
That's true. But also in football, though, I mean, you do see the same kind of rivalry, and there's other rivalries that are started
Sometimes
because of competitiveness.
But
And it's because
those
you're hitting.
rivalries, Mike, those rivalries are more because of the fans, not the players.
That's fine. Listen, they can set it up as much as they want. I'm entertained.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm entertained.
I'm entertained that your basketball team is a shit show.
I bet you are.
I'm
And I
very
can tell
entertained.
Here was the great thing. Growing up, here was the great thing about basketball. If you had a ball, you had a game.
Right. Just go to the park.
It was it was a game for, guys that and
Well, that's why
anybody.
it's an urban sport, because all you need is a ball.
All you need is a ball.
All you need
You
is a
can
ball.
find something to put that ball in.
Hockey's
make it basketball.
expensive. Baseball's expensive.
Hockey
Football's
is through
expensive.
the roof expensive.
Yeah.
Baseball, you need, a few
Bats,
guys.
helmets,
you need
baseballs,
9 guys
yeah.
to make a team.
Yeah.
Basketball, you can play one-on-one. Countless times. And I know, since you've known me, I do not look like a basketball player. But
Might look like a basketball, but not a basketball player, you know?
You can do it!
But,
Get that old ass of yours in there!
but growing up, from 11 till high school, I played basketball with my buddies all the time.
Yeah.
I'd
Me
wake
too.
up
Marine Park in Brooklyn. We used to go all the time to the park and play.
10:30. Somebody's knocking at your door. Yo, come on, let's go. Got a ball. We walk up to the park. We go from 10:30 until the lights went out. You're talking about 11, 12 hours of running around. And my mom knew where I was. You played with adults.
Come home when it gets dark.
Your age.
Be home for
Come
dinner.
home when it gets dark. Yeah. I got in the conflicts. We got in the pushing, shoving. I got in fights. It happens. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like you dapped everybody up. You went home. I'll see you tomorrow. That was one great thing about basketball. Football, you can't really. You could do that. You did have your.
But it's
your
violent.
neighborhood
You're hurting
games.
somebody. It's a little different. It's hard.
Yeah, you had your
Yeah.
neighborhood games and blah blah blah.
Yeah, we
But
used
they
to try
were
to kill each
special.
other. Yeah.
They were special. Football is
Yeah.
a one-time-a-week sport.
Yeah.
You can't
The
play
reason for
football. You can't play football 3 to 4 times a week and walk out alive.
You want to hear something funny, Mike? I'm going to give you something funny, and I hope that some of the people that know me from the past see this to hear me talk about this. You know me. I've always been the head coach. When I was a player, I was always a captain. I just always end up kind of being in charge. It's the way I have an alpha personality. It's just the way it is. So when we were young, we had a street football team, like I'm sure you had in Philadelphia. You had those too.
Yep.
That represented our area. And our street football team was, I'll call it gangish, and there were other street football teams that were specifically, they were gangs, Kings Highway Boys, Ghost Block. These were actual like gangs, that had football teams. And we would have organized 11 on 11 NFL rules, no equipment, football games in Marine Park. And when I tell you these games got bloody, these games got ugly, there were breaks, there were people cleated in the face. I mean, there was insanity, to the point where we actually even got referees once for the playoffs and championship. We actually went out and got PSAL refs, Public School Athletic League refs, to do the game. But the point is that football back then, especially in the 80s, was violent.
Yeah.
It was our way to keep from fighting. We played rough football. That was like our fight. And
Now-
there would almost always be a fight after the game. Prerequisite. But when you talk about pro athletes now, it's dialed down. It is. The competitiveness is dialed down. It just is what it is. And the Sixers are a mess. And I hope you figure it out. And I really do. I want you guys to figure it out, because I need to be in the playoffs again. I need to see you there. I need you to get there So you can go against the next thing we're going to talk about, which is the New York Knicks and Carl Anthony fucking Towns.
All right, fanboy, go for it.
Let me tell you, they made the big trade for Mikal Bridges, who is now coming around. He's hitting his shots. He has the highest corner 3-point percentage in the league right now. Carl Anthony Towns, I've always watched him from a distance, some national games, playoff games. I've never watched like every Carl Anthony Towns game. He's from the area. He grew up a Knick fan. He was shocked by the trade. And his reputation has always been that he's a little soft, right? Finesse. I'm not going to call him soft. Finesse. Finesse player. More of a shooting big man, that type of deal. Now I've watched this guy for 14 games. Anybody that calls him soft should be punched in the face. That man is not soft. As a matter of fact, that man's a fucking bully. I see him doing things I haven't seen since Patrick Ewing, posting up, fadeaway jumpers, driving the lane, cutting and slashing. Oh, and by the way, he's shooting 45% from downtown on a 7'1" guy. The fit is going to be perfect. It's starting to come together now. Remember last time we spoke, I said to you, I got to give it 20, 30 games, let them figure out the chemistry, who's taking the shot at the end of the game, how are we going to work this pick and roll consistently? Well, guess what? The pick
14
and roll,
games in.
It's starting to happen now. And you see him and Brunson together are a fucking handful to defend. And then, oh, by the way, Bridges and Anunoby are sitting in the corners waiting to put a dagger in your heart with a 3 to go with it. So the Knicks are starting to turn into what I think they're going to turn into. The Knicks are going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals, Mike.
Okay, you're calling it.
Whether they win or not, we'll find out. But they're going to be there.
If they stay healthy and everything keeps
I'm always assuming health when I talk that. I'm always assuming that their most important players are going to be healthy, right? Because you're always going to have some injuries. It's part of the game, Now listen, if you guys get hot, you guys make the playoffs, and you don't have Joel Embiid, you ain't winning shit. You know that. I know that. If the Knicks get hot and get into the playoffs like they did last year, what happened to the Knicks last year with the injuries? You go home.
They go home.
Eventually, it catches up to you.
Right.
Eventually, you don't have enough in the gas tank to get across the finish line. So I'm assuming health. The Knicks will be in the Eastern Conference Finals. Touching more on the NBA quick. To me, the Celtics are still the biggest obstacle. I still think they're the best team in the NBA.
Yeah, they just took out Cleveland.
Cleveland went into that 15-0, and the Celtics gave them the loss. But I'm going to give this to Cleveland. That game was a game. And Cleveland's right there, too. And I wasn't giving them enough respect in the beginning. And I don't think they're as good as their record is right now. I don't think they're a 15-1 team. However, they will be a top 3 seed. They will be a pain in the ass. Donovan Spider Mitchell is a pain in the ass. Kenny Atkins is a good coach, which is the difference to me for Cleveland. They got a real coach now. A real coach makes a real difference. You know what I mean? And it's showing with Cleveland. So right now in the Eastern Conference, you guys are tripping all over your own nuts. Milwaukee's tripping all over their own nuts. They can't get out of their own fucking way. Doc Rivers is 5 minutes away from getting his green card.
Surprised he's even still there.
He's going to get shipped out of the country. It's so bad right now. He's not even. Never mind lose the job. They're gonna send his ass down to Nicaragua or something. Get the fuck rid of him because he's so bad there. I can't believe how bad Milwaukee is, Mike. It's like it's mind blowing how bad they are. Miami's Miami, a little bit of a pain in the ass. But no, right now it's the Knicks, it's Cleveland, it's Boston. Outside chance of Philly figuring it out because I really like Tyrese Maxey. I think that kid is big deal. And if they could squeeze enough orange out of, juice out of the orange with Embiid and with Paul George, you should at least be a pain in the ass in the playoffs. At least.
Yeah, I'd hope so. I mean, like I said, for the fan base, if they don't make that strive and they're in the play-in or knocked out in the play-in tournament, which again I think is fucking dumb. You either make the playoffs or you don't. But I digress. We all know it's about money.
It's about money, Mike. You know that.
If they don't make it, hey, what?
Well, if you for some reason you don't make the playoffs and you don't ship off Joel Embiid, then your GM should be fired.
Well, we have to. Here's the other point before we have to switch subjects. If the Sixers don't ship off Joel Embiid soon, we're going to be screwed. We have no draft picks. We have no first-round picks. They're all gone.
When does Maxey get his max contract?
He was
That's gonna
drafted 2
happen.
years ago. So what is it? 4 years for Bird years?
4 years. One
I
more
think
year.
this is his third.
So one more year, then you're gonna have to max him out.
And we
If
gotta
you let
max
that
him
guy go, you're a bunch of fucking idiots. That guy's got to stay forever.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
your
and if he
Jalen
didn't-
Brunson.
And if he
He's
didn't
your
earn
Jalen
his,
Brunson. That's what he is.
if he didn't earn his spot this week as the guy for the max contract coming up, the new face of the Sixers, then ship them fuckers back over the river. You guys can have them in Jersey. You guys can have the Sixers.
Yeah, they can't fuck that up. That's all there is to it.
That's it.
I don't want to get too deep into hockey. I'll just say that the Rangers have played 17 games and won 12 of them, and I'll leave it at that.
Flyers are off of just had a 3-game winning streak. They're out of the cellar now. They're 8-9-2, and about 7 points behind the Rangers. So, like I told you, they're young.
Hey, how does our ass look? Does our ass look good? You're right behind
Yeah,
us.
it does.
Good, okay.
It
We all
does.
know we're shaking it enough for you on our way to the top.
We're
all
only
right?
1 point away from your beloved Islanders too, because I know you guys love them.
Oh, we love them.
Oh God.
Still the coolest goal song ever. I'm sorry. It's a great goal song.
You can have the goal song.
You can't hate it. I don't care what you say. You can't hate it. So that's our quick touch on hockey. We touched on the NBA. We talked about Juan Soto. And now, Mike, it is time to get into the NFL, where the men play the men, where the superior will rise to the top, and the inferior just will fall to the bottom. Let's talk about the NFL, Mike. Before we get into picks this week, I got something I want to get off my chest. The Jets fired their general manager this week. And it's also come out that Woody Johnson is very meddlesome, which is never a good recipe for a football team, right? Now, I think Joe Douglas had to be fired. I think that just the fact of him blowing the number 2 overall pick with Zach Wilson, him blowing a first-round pick with Mekhi Becton, and him hiring fucking Rob Saleh is enough to get him fired, regardless of the other good things he did. That's enough, because those are franchise killers. You can't draft the wrong quarterback. You can't draft the wrong left tackle, and you for shit sure can't hire the wrong head coach. You can't do it. You can't fucking do it. And he did it. So he paid for it with his job, right? The Jets are the biggest disappointment for a hyped machine in the history of sports. And all my years as a Jet fan, and I've had a lot of miserable years. I lived through 1-15 Ray fucking Hanley, bro. I lived through a lot of bullshit, right? But I expected those teams to suck. I expected the Adam Gase Jets to suck. Sam Darnold was a rookie. Adam Gase had his eyes crossed in the press conference. There's no way that was going to work. I knew it was going to be a train wreck. Every time it's looked like it was going to be a train wreck, it's been a train wreck. But this time, we were not supposed to suck.
No.
We were not supposed to be a terrible team. And the Jets, other than the Panthers and the Giants, may be the worst team in football. And I cannot believe
we suck again.
every year their record is worse with Aaron Rodgers than it was with Zach Wilson. And that, too, is on Joe Douglas. Aaron Rodgers has not been Hall of Fame Aaron Rodgers, okay? He's been pedestrian at best. He's had some moments, and he's had some bad moments. But this is the reality of it. You assholes wanted Hassan Reddick, and you let go of 3 interior defensive linemen to be able to get him.
Mm-hmm.
And it is blown up in your face because you couldn't stop a fucking nosebleed with a roll of fucking toilet paper. It's unbelievable. Everybody runs on him. Everybody. It's like a whorehouse. Everyone scores. Everyone gets laid. Everyone's scoring. Everyone is just whipping it out and having a good old time. And the Jets are the victim. And, you know, I look at some of the games this year and they're 3-8, and there's at least 3 or 4 games that they could have and should have won if their defense was half of what it was last year. But no, they're letting Jacoby Brissett and the Patriots drive the length of the field. But no, they're letting Richardson and the fucking Colts drive the length of the field. Teams that are not good offensive teams, Mike, are going up and down the field and treating them like they're a doormat. And you know why? Because they are. See this logo behind me here? This one right here.
Yeah, that one. Hey, you gotta go backwards.
Yeah, I have to go backwards. Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah.
For the first time in a long time, and I've had bad years, I'm ashamed to be a Jets fan. I haven't worn my hoodie once. It is a fucking disgrace. It is terrible. You know, Woody Johnson is a bad owner. And a bad owner is an owner who thinks he knows more than he does, right? And an owner who will not bring in the right people and step out of the way to let them do what they're supposed to be good at doing. The Jets can no longer hire first-time general managers and first-time head coaches and baby people along, because the reality is this. They need to take a jackhammer, put it up against the wall, break it to pieces, and start over. That includes getting rid of Aaron Rodgers. That includes getting rid of everything to do with this iteration of the Jets. And if I could make Woody sell the fucking team, Steve Cohen. Steve, are you listening to me, Steve? Please buy the Jets. Please. I'm begging. Please.
He's got a $60 million outfielder he's got to try to buy soon.
I mean, the Jets might be cheaper than Juan Soto. It might be a better deal. You're going to give $700 million for one player, or you're going to pay $1.5 billion for a team? I'll take the whole team. You know? So, listen, Steve, forget about Juan Soto. Pay a little more and get the whole Jet team. Get the whole thing. So, the Jets are a train wreck. 3-8. It's unbelievable. Your team showed me something this week. Not only did they beat the Redskins, they beat them from first whistle to last whistle. No, they did. Because every play they had to make, they made. Washington's a good team. You can't expect to roll a good team.
No, I'm going to say that they dug deep and they got the job done.
You know who got the job done?
On them? Who?
Saquon.
Listen, every week, the fucking guy shows up.
Guy's a fucking monster, man.
Guy shows up. But, again, points left on the board, and everybody's coming after the kicker, who is, what I was told just recently, I'm not going to Google it right now, is one of the higher paid kickers in the league. He's no Justin Tucker.
Top 3.
But he's one of the higher paid kickers in the league, probably because he has a ring. The guy's not going to be any good if he's not going to get in game situations. That's all those missed field goals do not fall on that kid. It falls on Sirianni still.
Well, yeah, because he always wants to go on 4th and 2.
4th and 2, he wants to go for it.
Sometimes you gotta just be smart and take the 3 fucking points, Mike.
Take the 3 points.
Yeah.
I get being aggressive. But it's manic.
And I bet you that he's not getting a hell of a lot of practice.
We talking about practice, not a game, not the game that I go out there and die for. And
yeah, it's practice, you know.
And piggyback on that.
Yeah.
Philadelphia, icon Howard Foreskin. Oh, he takes about 100 snaps a game and 100 kicks a game when he's on the sideline. There's no reason why he should be missing that.
It's not the same as game.
It's not the
6.
same
It's not
goddamn
the same.
thing, Howard.
It's not. It's not the same
not the same
pressure.
thing.
There's nobody coming after you. You can practice a million times. It's not the same as game reps. Game reps are different.
Game reps are different. The atmosphere is different.
Yep.
It's very much like golf. You got to hit the ball, and after you kick the ball, it's pitching too. After the ball's gone, you have no control over it. Yo,
I'll tell you what my
You
only
have no
worry.
control.
You want to know what my worry is for the Eagles? You're going to get Washington earlier in the playoffs, and they're going to knock you out.
Maybe. What do we got this week?
Well, we're going to get to the games. We'll get to
Yeah.
that. We're going to get to all the games. You know,
Oh, all right.
we're gonna start talking about them now because we're running low on time.
Right.
So we'll start with the first game, which is Frankie Steelers at Cleveland, and the Steelers are a 3.5-point favorite on the road. Cleveland tends to give Pittsburgh trouble. Always has. Always will. You and me talked about this division rivalry thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes records got to be thrown out the window, and I think that the Browns have addition by subtraction with no Watson involved now. However, I don't see Pittsburgh slipping up this game. I will take Pittsburgh and give it 3.5.
Yeah. I don't think it's enough either. Winston's starting to realize his role as a game managing quarterback. But I don't see them beating. The defense is just too good.
Pittsburgh's defense is phenomenal. It really is. Now we got the Lions, are 7.5-point favorites in Indianapolis, who beat the hapless Jets last week by 1 point in the Meadowlands. The Colts have Anthony Richardson starting. They're at home. Detroit's a dome team. Detroit looks like the most complete team in the league.
Yeah.
Maybe not the best, but they could be.
I think there's the best.
They could be, but they're definitely the most balanced. They have a good defense. They have good offense. They can run. They can throw. They can play indoors. They can play outdoors. They're a very complete team. 7.5 is a lot to give on the road, though.
I'll give it up. Like you said, I think they're the most complete team. They always find a way to win. Even when Goff threw 5 interceptions, they found a way to win.
But you know what happened when he threw those 5 interceptions? They didn't cover the number, and I don't think they will this time either. I think Detroit wins, but I think it's a close game. So I'd take the 7.5 with Indy. That's what I think. Okay. Kansas City at Carolina. What a barn burner. The Chiefs are a road 10.5-point favorite.
They might win this by 30.
I mean, if this game is close, I'll strip naked and run through Florence.
Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes had to walk into the meetings this week and said, we're going to have to beat up on these poor Carolinians.
Well, they just lost a big game. So they just lost to Buffalo, and now they have to try to stay ahead of Buffalo.
They're pissed.
Yeah. I expect them to come out fired up. I will give the 10.5, and I will take Kansas City and run with it. Now, this one's a little interesting because things have changed. You have the Tampa Bay Bucks, who are fighting for playoff viability, are a 6-point road favorite at the Giants. But the difference is the Giants got some juice coming in. It's the Paisan.
Yeah.
It's the Paisan.
He's
Tommy
back.
DeVito is starting this week. Oh! The North Jersey
yo.
kid, forget about it. We
Fuck
talking
my
about
20.
pizza, ravioli, stuffed shells. We talking about all of it, cannolis. We're going to break out some calzones and
Some
stracciatella. And I'm going to tell you what. I'm taking the Giants and giving the 6 at home.
Wow. Yeah, I'm taking the Bucks. They'll win by 2 scores plus.
I think you should not smoke crack before you come on this program because it's not going to be 2 scores plus. Tampa Bay's not that good. The Giants are better than they've looked. I think DeVito's going to give him a shot in the arm. He did it last year. And this year's Giant team is better personnel-wise, with the exception of Saquon. But the line is better. The receivers are better. The defense is a little better.
This is because an Italian guy's taking the fucking...
Oh, don't you disparage my man.
You know, like, I'll tell you.
We're gonna get some prosciutto with some fresh mozzarella. We're gonna show
Some
you what's
mozzarella,
happening.
yeah. And gabagool.
And the gabagool. Don't forget the gabagool. All right. So I'm gonna take the Giants and give the points at home.
Oh my god.
New England Patriots are on the road at Miami. And Miami, with Tua back now, 7.5-point home favorites. What do you think of this game between the fragile and the neophyte?
I think what do we got for the line?
The line is 7.5. New England is a road underdog. Miami's a home favorite.
I'm gonna take New England. I think Miami wins. Don't think they cover that 7.
Miami's a bully team. I'm going to take Miami because New England's a bad team, and they're going to run circles around them, and they're going to score like 35 fucking points and win that game 35-10.
Yeah, I disagree.
That's what I think. We'll see. We'll talk about it next week. If I'm right, you owe me a cannoli. All right. Oh, this one you're probably going to enjoy, but you're not going to enjoy because you actually have to root for the Cowboys. Dallas is a 10.5-point dog going to Washington. What's the last time you thought you'd hear that?
Probably when Bledsoe was the quarterback for Dallas.
I'll go further. I'll say
It
when
might even
Theismann was the quarterback for the Redskins.
Yeah, maybe a strike year.
10.5 is a lot, Mike, but Dallas is a mess. Dak is out for the season. Ezekiel Elliott is older than I am.
Commanders aren't the Redskins, so I don't hate them as much. I fucking can't stand.
And
Cowboys.
Dallas just
Everybody
got their
knows that.
shit pushed in Monday night too.
Yeah. They stink.
They suck. They're terrible.
So
They're bad.
I'm taking the Commanders. I'll lay those.
I'm going to lay the 10.5 also on that one. The Tennessee Titans, 8.5-point dogs going into Houston against the Texans.
Oh boy. I'll take Houston.
Houston has been underwhelming this year. They got blown
Very.
out by the Jets, which is unbelievable, right? They're very inconsistent, and they seem to be one of these teams that plays up or down to their competition.
But they are now the Kings of Texas.
They are the Kings of Texas. However, there's going to be a letdown. I do think the Texans will win the game. I do think it'll be a close game. I will take Tennessee and give 8.5 points. That's a lot of points.
Yeah.
Minnesota, a 3.5-point road dog going to Chicago. Minnesota's falling off the perch a little, just like your boy predicted. Minnesota's not quite as good as everybody thought they were, just like your boy predicted.
But Caleb Williams isn't as good as my boy predicted.
Do you realize Caleb Williams and Daniels have the same numbers, basically? You know what the difference is between the Commanders and the Bears? Coaching. So, therefore, the Bears are not as good of a team overall. But Williams has been pretty good lately. He has not been bad. 3.5 points at home.
I'll take the Bears. I think Minnesota's like in that weird limbo spiraling.
Sam Darnold is cooked. I'll take the Bears too.
He's quicksand. He's in there. He's struggling to get out, and it's not going to get any better the more he fights. So
we're up to the 4:00 games, Mike. The first game is a lot different than I thought it would be. Denver is a 5.5-point dog going to Vegas so they can bang hookers and play the Raiders. The Broncos are a lot better than I thought they were going to be. And the kid is getting better and better every game.
They whooped on the Falcons.
Whooped on the Falcons.
Like the Falcons didn't even deserve to be.
And I thought the Falcons were going to win that game,
building.
and they beat them like dogs. The defense is pretty good for Denver. Bo Nix seems to be getting better every week, figuring it out a little bit. He's got some legs in him. He can run. He's decided to throw the ball to his good receivers, which helps. I'm going to give the points. I'm going to take the Broncos in this one on the road.
I agree. I just don't think the Raiders, with what Bo Nix is doing, Bo Nix is just on hot. He's in fuego right now.
He's starting to look like the real deal, Mike.
Yeah.
You're starting to look like the real deal. All right, next we got San Francisco, a 2.5-point dog.
Oh, the old Tundra rivalry.
Going to Green Bay. The Green Bay Packers.
The old big 90s rivalry.
Who seem to get a quarterback every time. They've gone from Mark Starr to Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers. And now Jordan Love carries the mantle as they host their old-time rival. This is a must-win game for San Francisco. They are 5-5. I can't believe that. They are too good.
At the same time, I can believe it because we did say in the beginning of the year, this might be the year that
they face adversity. Yeah, and it's looking like it, but this is a must-win to stay alive. They're a game behind I can't believe I'm saying it, the first place Arizona Cardinals. They're a game behind them. It's a must-win. Green Bay's a good team. However, I am going to take San Francisco on my 2.5 points. I think that they know they have to win this game, and Shanahan is a really good coach, and he's going to come up with some shit so they can win this game.
Yeah, I see this as like a fourth quarter comeback or something. It's late in the game. I'm going to pick the Niners too. I think they are they're fighting life support right now. So
yeah. Next, you got the first place Arizona Cardinals as a 1-point road dog going to the 12th man, and the tied for second place Geno Smith Seattle Seahawks, who just came off the win against San Francisco. This is tough.
I can't I just find it so hard to pick the Cardinals every week. I don't know what it is about Kyler Murray. I'm going to go with the Seahawks.
I'm going to go against you on this one. I think the Cardinals get it done. I think Murray's what I like about Kyler Murray this year, it's the most patient I've seen him. He's not making those dumb kid mistakes this year. Okay. He's not dropping back to run. He's running when it's opportunistic to do so. He's scrambling to throw, and then if it opens up, he uses his little legs and he scoots. I've been disrespecting Arizona all year. I'm going to stop right now. I'm going to take Arizona.
I feel like you've really been giving Arizona their flowers the past couple weeks.
I've seen the progression of how they're playing, and I still haven't believed in them to keep getting these big wins. I'm starting to say, okay, maybe they're better than I think they are over the last couple of weeks, and now they beat San Francisco. I'm getting more solid on it. This team might win the division, and if they're going to win the division, they need to beat Seattle. So
yeah,
I'm going to take Arizona.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to
ready, Mike.
Oh yeah, I'm always ready.
The Philadelphia Eagles. Wait, let's make sure we cue this up when we do this, my friend. We got to make sure that we do it, okay?
Go for it.
The Eagles will get on a plane and go to Philadelphia West, into L.A., into SoFi Stadium, where I have no doubt there will be more Eagle fans than there will be Ram fans. But the Rams are in the mix, fighting for life. Stafford's a good player. This is what you would call a typical trap game, maybe, for the Eagles. Eagles are only a 2.5-point dog, though, going to Cali.
And got to keep the flow going.
Fucking anti-mush.
We're going Rams. Like you said, they are in more of a life support for the division, possibly playoff scenario. The Eagles are going to have some time off because they played Thursday, so they're going to be fresh.
10-day rest, mini bye. They got the mini bye.
Something's going to happen because we're due.
Saquon Barkley's going to run all over the fucking Rams. I'm going to take the Eagles.
I hope so.
But you just took the Rams. You don't hope so.
Yeah, I do. I hope so. But I'm just telling you, just as an Eagles fan. Listen, if I could do this all the way to fucking February, I'm going to do it.
Monday night, the Ravens at the not-so-surprising Chargers. It's amazing what a good coach does, Mike. It's amazing, isn't it?
It is.
You got the brothers, the Harbaughs, the brothers going against each other for the first time since they did it in the Super Bowl. Jim and John. John going to Jim's house.
Going to Jim's house.
And Jim is a 2-point dog in his own house. 2.5.
And Chargers coming off a big victory over the Bengals, too. I think I'm going to take the Ravens.
You know, the Ravens just lost a tough game to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And the Chargers are coming off a very good win. And I think the Ravens, I don't think the Chargers are going to have enough answers for Lamar Jackson and Henry. And I'm going to take the Ravens also. I think the Ravens know they need to try to keep pace with Pittsburgh till they play them again. And they're not going to want to lose this game. I'd be very surprised if the Ravens lose this game. I'll take the Ravens. Now, believe it or not, Mike, there's one more game not on the slate. The Jets are home for the bye. The bye is a 5-point favorite. I'm taking the bye to win the game.
It's going to be close.
How sad? How sad is this?
I'm going to. What'd you say it was 5? They're a 5-point favorite.
The Jets are a 5-point dog against the bye.
I'm going to take the 5 points.
Yeah. I'm going to take the bye and give 5. That's how much confidence I got. Yeah. The bye will find a way to score 28 points against that shit defense. It will. Yeah. So that does it for our pick segment, Mike.
Yeah.
And that does it for another show that had some sadness in it. And I want to say again, Frank, we're going to miss you, my man.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not the same.
It's not the same. And listen, I don't know if we'll ever be the same. And I've hedged on it. I may try to get us another regular spot eventually. Not yet. I can't do it yet. So you and I will just run it for a while, probably through football season. And then we'll decide after that what direction we're going to go in. But for now, Frankie, I hope you keep watching. And I hope you know we loved you. And this is your battle for I-95 too. It's been brought to you by Easy Moving. Moving just sucks. It's ass. You might as well do it the easy way. Servicing Fairfield, Connecticut, removal in New York. I'm Turk. That's Mike. He was Frank. And we are signing off.
Will do, Frank.
We will see you next time on the Battle for I-95 podcast.